Here we go.
Where's the... All right. So, hi, everybody. So today we have a special guest. His name is Ramneet Kalra. He's pretty amazing, and he has a PowerPoint presentation for us. But before he starts, I thought maybe could share a little bit about the possibility of publishing a book. I know a lot of you have some writings like poetry or short stories or whatnot. And I was thinking maybe it would be good to share poetry and things in that. Could be in a zine format. It could be like a physical copy of a book. Maybe we could put artwork as well and mix and match that. So that's something, because my residency is almost over at the end of the year. So because we've been focusing a lot on visual arts, and I thought maybe since a lot of you expressed interest in writing, then we have two guests. So we have Ramneet today, and then next month we're going to have one on poetry. This one is more focused on how to write and publish a book. So hopefully if you guys can save your questions at the end, that would be really appreciated. Ramneet has written 3 books, and he, yeah, you got something to say?
Yep.
All right.
So my third book is out to come on Monday. That's tomorrow. So the other 2 are available. Yes. And it's a very happy feeling. In fact, a tremendous feeling when you get your book in your hand. So I'll share my book with you. Just give me a minute here. And it's called The Lazy Motivation, for all of us who would like to be motivated, but we don't know where to start. So that's my first book. And I started writing on this during COVID, the first lockdown of COVID. And I was like, what to do? And there were a lot of thoughts in my mind when I started writing. And I was so confused whether to publish it, not to publish it. And I was like, what to do with that? Like, I had made a big diary entry of all the things that I wanted to talk to my friends. A lot of people talked to me during the COVID times. I was working as a soft skills trainer back home in my country in India, and I used to talk to a lot of students, prepare them for the interviews, also motivate them. And that was actually a lesson plan for me on how to produce or how to write a book so that people get motivated. And the second part was that during the COVID times, a lot of people were facing or were feeling down, and they needed someone actually to talk them up. So it's always better to lend a ear, I feel, than to talk. So that's one thing. And I feel, as Isabel told me, that many of you have wrote a lot of poems, some short stories, some kid stories, maybe some fantasy novels, whatever you can write. It's great. And yes, so I will share my PowerPoint, and a clap to you who have been writing. It's good. And now it's time for you to showcase your work, because it's always better to listen how the other person feels. It's not good to hide away your diaries in your homes because you have written. It's about how you can show that. So I'll share my PowerPoint. Just give me a minute.
So Ramneet, somebody in the chat was asking where can you purchase your book? So I've put the link to your website. I don't know if Ramneet just published his website like last week, so it's very new.
My books would be available on Amazon.ca. Right now they are available on the Indian website, but I talked to my publisher so that they should be easily accessible on the Canadian website of Amazon as well.
Cool. And he has pet photography on his website too.
It's so cute. It's so cute.
Yeah. Yeah, so I love photography, so that's my, you can say, hobby or the first thing. So my favorite thing.
Yeah, if you guys are interested in photography workshop, maybe we can do that at some point.
So, okay, and yep. So here you go.
You can see
And
it.
you can see my screen.
Mhm.
Great. So we will go to everything, and wait, I think I would rather go with um, okay, yes. All right, so tell me, like, what motivates you? Tell me a bit about yourself, everyone, so that we can start on a little brief introduction about yourself. And what do you write? Whether it's a short story, whether it's a poem, kids, whatever you love to write, and what sort of difficulties have you faced while writing? So I would love to hear that from you. So let's start.
Okay, I can start.
Yes.
I am Isabel. I hope you know that. So I mostly journal, just like a diary, like you say. I've written a couple poems, maybe like 10 years ago, maybe one poem this year, and that's about it. So I don't have a lot of writing. What was the other question? What are the obstacles?
Yeah.
I think the obstacles is I would like to write a play, or I guess one of the obstacles is like I'm very comfortable writing with other people. So I find it hard to do it by myself. So if I'm like collaborating with another person, then I can bounce ideas. So I'm in a playwriting circle,
That's
and
good.
one of the persons shared their story with us, and he had very good characters, but he didn't have much of a storyline. And I was like, oh, this is awesome. And I had a bunch of ideas, and he's like, whoa. And then we were like talking about it. So I feel like that's helps me to write. But otherwise, if I'm just left alone, I don't know what to talk about. Yeah. So how about Carly? Do you want to go next?
Sure. I've been currently, well, I've started doing the second volume of my sort of memoir books, so like just like the mental thoughts of the different parts of who I am, like the warrior, the critic, the authentic self, the child. And I've been taking part in the Moncton Creative Writers Group. They sort of give constructive feedback after I read. And one of the blocks for me to do and move forward with the final edited draft, and then sending it to the editor or publisher. And that's sort of a blockage I've been having. That's why I started doing the second one, and I'm just going with the flow whenever I write. Since I was always taught the old write first, edit after.
Yes, that's
Adage.
good. Okay. And who would be the third one, the next one after Carly?
I can talk. So I'm not really a writer, but I'm starting to. I want to write, and I've started working on them, just some basic children's books that could be, I want them to be free public use for schools to help try and demystify some stuff about different disabilities. Because I mean, I know from my years in the school that if students are not introduced to this stuff young, they just don't, they're scared of what they don't understand and what they don't know. And so just trying to find ways, and I'm going to base it around when my youngest child, who is autistic, she used to have these imaginary friends, the cow friends, but they're not cows, and they live on the moon, but they hang out on Earth, and the mama drives a van. Like, it was this whole thing, like she had this whole great imagination, and it was really cool. And our family talks about it all the time still, and she's 22. So I'm going to try to find a way to incorporate the cow friends, but just bring them down to earth all the time into these books, right? and make these very easy, accessible books. And my goal is, now that I'm learning sign language, is that maybe I could sign along beside some of the books for a Zoom video or something for a classroom, so that it is inclusive for as many people as I can, because that in and of itself shows why we have to work at being more inclusive for everyone.
Absolutely. And
My
so
biggest
here
struggle, I guess, right now is that I have not,
Mhm.
I have to set time aside for myself to do it, right?
Yes.
So I'm very bad at that. So I've started getting back into my walking for
Mhm.
exercise, because I've got exercise. So now I've got that built into my schedule every day. I've done it now for 3 weeks. So I've got that, 21 days new habit.
Mhm.
Next will be setting in the time to set so much time every day just to sit down and work on the writing part and build
Yes.
it into my schedule.
Right. And that's great, actually. And my first point of contact, like the first reason for writing was, I should write. It should not be about making money or anything.
No.
It should be about why I want to write.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
And that's what it is.
secondly, yes, it is like your book should read more and more people. They should know that you have written, that you overcame your biggest fear, that how will people react to my writing? How will people react to how I have written? So you should go ahead and write and then get it published. If the publisher agrees, then that's great. If not, put it on a website, put it as a blog, just get it out.
Get it out. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I've put it on my schedule starting next week. So I'm going to hold myself to it. So we're going
Yeah.
to start slow, but we're going to get there.
Perfect. Perfect. The next one. Okay.
Louise, would you like to go?
Yes.
Is she still here? Louise?
I'll go.
I'm on mute. Yeah, she's still there.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah,
there she-
all right. Suzanne says she go.
Okay, I'm unmuted.
There you go.
I'm sorry, I was trying to
Okay.
find the unmuted button. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, first of all, thanks for having this session, because this is very timely for me. I have written one book, and it's
Wow.
called Through My Eyes,
Mhm.
Insights into Disability Etiquette.
Nice.
And
Nice.
it
Wow.
has been, I'm a self-publisher.
Mhm.
And the reason I chose that is I did find a publisher,
Mhm.
but they wanted to change everything, and it would have defeated the purpose. For example, my book is written in 16 Arial, and the purpose of that is that I want to make sure that people understand that low vision people, that's what they use to read. That makes it easy for them to read.
Mhm.
So my book was, I worked a year with the Department of Education in Nova Scotia to have the right lingo, so
Mhm.
it would be placed in the school system, in the classroom, because I believe that education on disability starts in the classroom.
Mhm.
And I became a bestseller. And
Woohoo!
now
Yay.
with that book, and I'm still using it to this day, but I want to grow the book. I want more stories, different disabilities and that thing. And I'm also writing a second book, and I don't know what it's going to look like. I don't have any titles. I'm just writing.
Mhm.
I've got 16 pages written so far, no, 24. But my challenge is,
Mhm.
one, I get two challenges. One is to find the time and discipline myself
Mhm.
to sit and focus on at least an hour to 2 hours, whenever.
Mhm.
And the second thing is It will be where I can put it so that I can either sell it or make it into a funnel. I don't know if a lot of people know about funnel, but something like that, something new, because I like challenges.
Mhm.
So that's where I'm at. Thank you.
Okay. I have read about funnels, but I'm not really comfortable about funnel system because I feel that it's for me actually, not for others. I am like as a newcomer to funnel system, I do not know much about them. So that's something I would also like to learn more about that. So
Okay.
mhm.
I have also written some books and had them published or self-published as well.
Mhm.
But one of them was, because my background was sports statistics, I wrote one on the history of candlepin bowling in the province. I just had that printed here because my main audience were the bowlers in the province. This was 15 years ago, I guess now.
Oh, does the Sports Hall of Fame have it?
Pardon?
The Sports Hall of Fame, we might be interested in that.
I
The
think they have a copy of it in there.
nice.
Then I finished 8 years ago 4 volumes of Devon Remembered, and it's house to house history of all the houses that were built prior to 1945, which is when Devon amalgamated with Fredericton.
Mhm.
So I used my photography on that, and the archives, the provincial archives, are about the best, I think, in the world for researching,
Wow.
and it's free. And then I finished. They are now up on Amazon, and because before I was just having them printed and selling them from here, but now I put them up on Amazon, and we moved, and so instead of having to carry around all these volumes, it's better to do it that way.
Mhm.
And then 2 years ago, I did my own. I wrote my own biography,
Mhm.
coming full circle, the diaries of a polio survivor, and that was in the making. That's now up on Amazon, but I don't tend to promote it that much, and so but anyone wanting to do that, what my advice was, I guess for years I've always kept a diary, and so then I got Dragon Naturally Speaking, and dictated it, and so each chapter on my computer was a different year, and then I dictated from newspaper clippings or calendar stuff, whatever, so all my facts were there in order. Then from there I had to take it and put it into a book, and probably the most difficult part was doing the transition,
Mhm.
figuring out how to organize it, and then do the transition paragraph from one chapter to the next.
Mhm.
And I know my titles kept changing a lot. So anyway, I was quite happy with the process. It's something, my father died a few years ago at the age of 98, and he was always after me to get it done, but unfortunately I didn't get it done until after he died. But it now, mind you, when you get my age, or I'm retired quite a while ago now, so time wasn't really a great problem. So, but it was basically during COVID there again, we couldn't go anywhere, so it was a perfect time to do the writing.
Absolutely. Yes.
And the typesetting, I did all the typesetting myself, and that way, like someone mentioned, that way you can have it appear the way you want it to appear. So
Mhm. Yeah. The next person.
I can go next if you want.
Absolutely. Please go ahead.
So I'm not published. I've dabbled in the different types of writing. I also some journalist background. I took journalism in college, but
Mhm,
I've written poetry and I have had ideas for books.
mhm.
One that I've been wanting to kind of explore is a young adult fiction because I never start stuff the easy way. Uh,
Mhm.
it would would be easier to start with nonfiction probably.
Right.
It's sort of in the same vein as Maximum Ride series
Mm.
by James Patterson.
Yes.
Uh, science fiction. It's about a young girl who's been paralyzed in an accident, and she's depressed and all that, and then she then starts realizing that every time she sits in her chair, there's something that happens, and she's a superhero. She turns into a superhero gradually.
Right. Absolutely. That's right.
So that's geez, you seem excited.
I
Do
seem
you,
so.
do you
Okay.
like science fiction?
So I'll tell you what the protagonist is a very real person here in this story, and I, as a kid, even as an adult, I love Enid Blyton's those magical fairy tale books. So
Yeah.
the science fiction that you just described, it's kind of like those things wherein something magic happens,
Mhm.
and it is actually it is something possible, maybe in the near future, but it is possible. So it's a nice way you can actually get that written.
It's something I'd like for children who have
Yes.
disabilities and adolescents. So anyway, it's an idea that I've had for a while, and I just can't get it off the ground. I started at some point, and then well, I get busy with other stuff, and I push it aside, and never
Yes.
got never got further than that.
Yep. You
So
can actually build up on this idea, and it's a very, very great idea that you can build up on, and we can actually look at this as a basis to how to write a story if you would like that, Muriel.
with you mean?
Yeah, in this session today, right now, and then at later time also you can connect with me and I can help you out with that.
Okay, you never know.
Yeah, for anyone
Anything
who's
else for me to do? I should have shut up.
yeah, I'll help you out. Anyone who would like to collaborate, and I would
He's
love to be
got
a
you
part
now,
of.
Muriel. He's got you now.
Yes. and and I would like to be a part of all your books. Like if you want me to be a nagging person who will just nag you to write every day, I can be that person. If you want me to motivate you to write every day, I can be that person. If you want help, I can be that person. So I am everywhere where you think you want me to be and where you are frightened of me because I am there to help you. So I'm gonna get that done. Yes, from this batch.
All
All
right.
right. The next person who's coming, or
I think
I-
Suzanne,
Um,
yeah.
yeah. Can you hear me?
yes.
Oh, okay. I keep confusing the buttons here. Hello, everyone. When I was in high school, my English teacher, I guess with my imagination, wanted me to go into writing plays and screenplays, but I had other thoughts for careers. About 28 years ago, I was hired with another woman to teach. We had to design and implement an after-school safety project, a program for elementary children, but it was geared towards latchkey children. It worked out well, but to finish off the contract, once the teaching was over, we had to write a safety manual. So that was an interesting process, learning how to put together a type of book and what was expected. But we were surprised by that. It was very, very well received. In fact, the program we designed, it was in Calgary. It was later adopted by the Calgary Boys and Girls Club, and they implemented the program. Right now, I have my hands full, but I was always geared towards history, my first love. I love all kinds of history, but I love biographies because biographies is simply the history of a person. And I think I've led an interesting life like right now, but I don't know if my story would be of any interest but right now, but I was pushed a few years ago. My friend of mine, her husband had a publishing company in Quebec, and wanted to write about my experiences first marriage, but at the time I wasn't in the right place, starting my life over. But I would like to perhaps test the waters, venture that way into sort of writing an autobiography. I just have to find the time now.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay. And the next person. Anyone left who would like to speak? Yes.
There's Jerry and Paulette and Cass. and
Christelle. Yeah, Paulette, anyone?
I'll speak. I'm not a writer. I just came because I thought this would be interesting to learn something new.
Yes, please go ahead.
Yep, that's it. Just want to. I saw what the topic was for tonight and thought this would be interesting to learn something new, like to write a book and maybe get an idea of actually writing a book about something.
Needs to actually write.
Okay, yes, go ahead. Would you like to speak on that?
Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Yeah, no, that's pretty much it. Just wanted to learn something new.
Okay. And have you tried your hand at like writing diary entry or something like that?
I've posted stuff on Facebook. That's about it. And it's mainly when I'm in a mood. Like I have a disability. I'm legally blind. I have retinitis pigmentosa. So I will write my thoughts of the moment on Facebook, but it's never been anything that, accumulated to anything of interest. I mean, it's more interest to me in just my rantings.
Okay. And how often do you write? Like, even though, how often do you write? Do you write it on a daily basis? Do you write it on a weekly basis?
Like I said, it's a spur of the moment thing. It's just if something happened in my life that bothered me or something that just, was a good thing, was a bad thing. Usually, I write a little paragraph on Facebook, 2 to 3 lines of something. I've done the same thing on Twitter. Sometimes it's just funny things that just come to my mind that I just write down. So basically my social media is kind of like my journal, I guess you could say.
Okay, that's good. That's cool. Yes. So journaling in your social media, that's a new idea.
Yeah. I'm more of a reader than I am of a writer.
Okay.
I do too much writing for work because I work in IT, and so I'm always writing ticket notes and stuff. So
that's something, yes. And
you would never know it's spur of the moment though, Jerry, because you don't write, like you said, you don't see a lot from it. When you do write it, it is very well said.
Yes.
There's no misunderstanding what you say. It's very, it's smooth and it flows and it's good and to the point.
Yeah, every time I've written something on Facebook, my aunt will either comment it on it or she'll tell me the nice the next time she sees me that, you know, that I'm a very good writer and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So, I mean,
Mhm.
it's not that I can't write.
Mhm.
It's just that I don't know anything specific that I want to write about.
Mhm. So, why don't you do one thing? You can try making a collaboration of all the things that you have written on Facebook, like the articles, the journals, journal entries. Put some colors, some visual effects, like photographs, uh, and then make it a book, like a book of quotes or something like that. That would be really wonderful, Jerry.
Actually, that's not a bad idea. I could probably look into that.
Yeah,
It worked for Carrie on Sex in the City.
absolutely. Yes. See?
I don't watch Sex in the City, so I don't know about that episode, but I'll have to look it up.
Yes.
I mean, it worked for Alice Wong too. She's a famous disability arts writer, and her biography is kind of like a zine. There's like articles that she's been in, interviews. There's like journal entries. It's really cool.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not traditional biography by any means, and she's advocating for disabilities at the same time. It's called Year of the Tiger. Anyway, excellent book.
I think I started reading that.
Oh, it's
I'll
so
have to go
good.
back and look.
Yeah.
I've got so
Anyway.
many books on the go that I'm reading from Sela.
Hundreds.
Yeah, me too. All right.
Of them.
Paulette, are you ready to share?
I really don't do anything in that area of writing because I have a learning disability and I don't
You
know.
wrote-
It's just,
You
I
wrote
was-
that beautiful poem that was it about you can't read or something? It was it's so good.
well, I don't know. I just feel writing because where I tried to write in high school, I've been kind of targeted in that area, teased a lot, and it's I enjoy other people's writing, but I don't think I can do it. So
Okay.
Paulette, your poem, as Isabel said, I was so impacted by that poem that you wrote. And if that was ever published, you would lift the spirits of many, many people. It was beautifully written and touching and inspiring. And I think you definitely have a hidden talent.
Yeah, agreed. Actually, I was going to ask permission if I could
agree.
publish it
And
because I want to
wow.
do a group. I
Yeah.
want to do a group
Yes.
book,
Yes.
and that's one of the poems I want to put in there if you would allow me to do so.
Wow, that was great.
I don't know. It's just kind of like in the past that where I was awarded the government all my life. People want me to write my life story, but the way I feel is that that's part of my past. And why bring up things that aren't necessary, right? So
Yeah, I
I
could
don't-
write about the future.
Because it might be
Yeah.
able to give someone else hope.
Yeah.
well, it's just that when it's hard, you can't even write simple letters to your government or something like that. I just feel that if I can't do that, how am I going to write a book? I mean, I have to get people to help me to do stuff like that. And I would rather just leave it to the people that can do it.
A lot of writers don't write their books on their own either.
Yeah, like some people have the recorder and they dictate it to themselves, or they use Dragon,
Or you use a ghostwriter.
Ghostwriters.
Yeah,
Yes, I was
ghostwriters,
coming to
yeah.
that as well.
Yeah,
So,
writers. Yeah.
mhm. So they will just tell them, ghostwriters, they will just tell them about the story, about the issues or the life history as they portray it. And
Well,
yeah, it's up to you if you want it in the first person, or you could create an imaginary person or an imaginary protagonist, like a boy or a girl who would go ahead and be the main character in that.
well, there's one thing that I've always wanted to do all my life, but I don't think I can do it because the service dogs belong to different schools. And I've always wanted to write like stories on how the funny part of having a guide dog, not just the serious part of working. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Due to them being in schools, I don't think a person could really do that because you'd have to have their permission and all that. So
But there's a lot, like I know a girl that I taught with, and when her daughter was first, when they started suspecting that she was autistic, they came to me because they could get no help from the system. They knew that I was used to working with my daughter who was autistic, right? We were quite open about it. And her child was actually the first person Anglophone South that was permitted to bring her dog to have her service dog at school with her. And you know, the district was very anti this and said this won't work. And Oakley was so loved. He was in all the school pictures. And all that. Oakley is now retired, and I guarantee you that family would talk to you and share some of their stories because.
yeah, but the thing is that the dog comes from her school. So
Yeah.
if I say something about the school, you'd have to get permission from the school,
Oh,
wouldn't you?
but you
Okay.
could change
Yeah.
the name of the dog a little, like you could just change it a little bit, right?
Yeah. You could
And
make
it
it
like a ghost or make it a
fiction.
little half fiction. It's
Yeah.
based off reality, but it's still fiction.
You could change the name of the school, change the name of the dog, change the name of the person.
I just don't want to get in trouble for plagiarism.
No.
And that's
Anyways,
where the
if you change your
ghostwriter
mind
would
on
help.
that, I can help you out to meet some people, Paulette. Just keep that in mind.
Okay. Yeah, I will. I'll bear it in mind.
All right, Cass, you want any writings to share with us?
I don't do a lot of writing. I mean, I'm not bad at it, but I guess like I just do a lot of, I don't know. I know a couple of people have said stuff about some things I read on Facebook. They said it was nice, and I did win a creative writing thing in my school when I was in like middle school. But yeah, I don't do it much.
You could so write a book about hope. When you have
Yes.
hope, when you're on the hopeful side, you
Yeah,
are so inspirational. And I think that would help keep you more on the hopeful side too, maybe. Because when you're
Absolutely.
hopeful, you are so hopeful and so inspiring, and you're determined that there is nothing that you will not accomplish. And it's amazing to listen to.
yeah,
And
that may be a good thing.
We could even make a
yes.
small book, a group book of just about short stories about life with the disability and make like a collective book
Yeah,
Yeah.
from all different perspectives.
Yeah, and it
That's
can
a
be
great
any
idea.
format.
Or you can make it like a zine wherein you print that once every quarter, once every month. Just motivational book with some quotes from Jerry, with some quotes from Cass, whatever you would like to put
With
in.
some Carlyisms.
Yes. So it's like something that you all could collectively do as a group, and then make sure that it reaches a lot of people because they are not happy, and then it motivates them. So
Cool.
you
I like that.
become leaders for the other people and make other people happy,
I like
right?
that thought. Yeah.
Maybe it's like creating a Christmas in every month or every quarter. It's how you look at it. So that's the kind of a zeal, motivation that you want the other people to have.
Just by you saying that, that's what stresses me out.
You should not get stressed. Never get stressed. Stress is not important. It's about what you write. It's about how you take it. Yeah.
Stress is like there's like one side is excitement and the other side is stress, you know. So it's like, oh, I'm nervous, and then I'm excited. You know, it's like the same kind of energy. Yeah.
And when you get stressed, STRESSED, it is just the opposite of desserts. So
Oof.
who doesn't love desserts?
Mm.
I like that a thought.
Yes.
I think Ramneet's gonna go for dessert after this talk.
Yes.
Pretty sure.
I am definitely going for desserts. Yes.
All right, so I think everybody shared except Christelle. Are you wanting to share or no?
Okay.
No, I don't really do anything.
Okay. No worries.
She doesn't do anything except win medals
Oh
for
my
her
God.
sports. Not a big deal.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Inspire
I
future
mean, I don't ride. Is what I mean.
Wow.
I mean, that
Wow.
would be a pretty interesting book. I'm just saying, you know.
Winning medals. The title can be like so nice. All right. And we just opened the book and look at how much magic it all came out. Like we have so many people who write so many interesting things, and we have so many people who can love and collaborate with them, and whoo, awesome. So it's all about magic, and magic is whatever you write, whatever is in your hands, and how you tell people your stories, your poems, your short stories, your autobiography, biographies, whatever you want, because in the end, it's about your writing. It's not about what people think or what people want. It's about what you want. Okay. So let's go to my next slide. And I see that you have seen that, but my first book called The Lazy Motivation. It was a motivational book that I wrote in 2020, the first COVID lockdown. Then I wrote down the second book, which was a collaboration with one of my office colleagues. Here We Are Forever. So it's about two people who fall in love and then travel to all the exotic places in the country. So it's kind of like a travelogue with a fictional twist and the problems that they overcome. So and the third book, it's coming out tomorrow, A Journey Through Poems, the photography and poetry book that's coming out tomorrow. So it is like a couple of things that I would like. It's I love like photography and poems, so I love that.
Now, is that being published on Amazon, did you say?
I will be putting it down on Amazon tomorrow. It's I just got it through Allegra Printing here in Fredericton, so it should be here tomorrow. Yes.
I didn't think that they did photography books.
No, they did. I spoke to Jeff and Casey, and they both told me that they can do that.
Oh.
So
Yeah,
that's like a mixture, like a photograph plus a poem which describes the photograph.
Okay, that's what I was wondering. So they would consider like a poetry book with photography, and that's why they're doing it.
Yeah, and I love your photos on Facebook, Carol. So I've been like loving them. I look at them in like those groups, the We Love New Brunswick and the other group, Scenic Drives Across New Brunswick. I think both of them.
Well, I've just been looking at your photography. You have a very nice camera. I can only carry a small one with a flip back. So that's why I turn my photos into paintings.
Oh, okay.
Because once they get larger, they get so pixelated.
Yeah,
it's a great idea.
Yes, it's actually a great idea. Yes,
I like to do a photography book too, but I guess I was just because Amazon said that they wouldn't they don't publish photo books, so
yeah. So we can get them printed at a printing company like Allegra Printers in Fredericton.
Yeah.
And then we can sell it all across through us or through Amazon, whichever way we want.
Or like the local bookstore here, Westminster's, I think.
Westminster, or we can sell it through, you can sell it through your website, Carol.
The thing is, when you sell them locally, they take 40% off the top. And yes, I do like to make money just to help
Yeah, absolutely.
pay for all the equipment and stuff like that. So
But we make so much money on disability money in New Brunswick. We don't need it.
Oh,
Ramneet,
don't get her started on that. Don't get her
No.
started. Let him finish his presentation now.
Yes.
it's hard to hear all your comments here because it's, I don't know, I've got to get a bigger louder amplifier or something, but I guess getting old, you get deaf too, so it's hard to hear everything here.
And
Oh,
like,
okay.
even now though, like, cause you were saying, Carol, about the cameras in many of our cell phones are as good as there's some pretty good cameras
I know
out
they
there.
are, but they are too small, they're too thin.
Okay.
Problems holding them and all
Oh,
that.
yeah, yeah.
So I've been trying, I've got a little Nikon with a flip back and it you know, I can hold it down on top of my scooter or something, and
Okay, yeah.
that's my tripod. But
Yeah.
I've been looking online. I mean, it's only 10 megapixel nowadays. They're what, at least 20 megapixels or something like that.
Yeah.
And like you've got nice depth of field in your pictures, and I don't really have those. And it's one thing
My camera, Carol. So my camera is over 11 years old.
Is it okay? Must be the same age as mine. So,
yeah, I bought my camera when my nephew was about to be born, like 3-4 days before that. And his, like, I took the first photo when he was born. So he's 11 now.
Sorry, I'm getting straying off the main topic, which is writing books here, but
Yeah, no worries, no worries.
some other time, if you're talking photography on here, I'd love to join you. So
yeah, we can ask Isabel to do a photography session as well.
Yeah. Oh, we would love that. We have a lot of people. Muriel's a great photographer. Cass did one where I should put my camera on it's ready to talk to. She is laying
Yeah, I
on the
showed it.
ground and she's got her wheelchair on top, the wheel on top of her. It is just so poignant. It is so amazing. Like, and yeah, I just can't even put words to it. It's so good.
Yeah, hopefully in December we'll revisit
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Ramneet, I have a question. It's a slightly off as well. Did you do your own graphic on the lazy motivation?
No, one of my friends, she is a painter. She helped me with that. So it was like she just made this and then on a piece of a paper napkin actually. And I was like, I need that. I need that. It resonates with my book. I definitely need that. And then she said, you want that same one? And then I said,
Awesome.
yes, I know that I need that same one.
It calls to me too because it's very Zentangly. I'm a Zentangler.
Yeah.
It's a type of doodle where you repeat the same shapes
yes
many times, and the hair that comes.
Yeah, it's actually like, what is she thinking about? What she wants to convey?
Yeah.
That's what drove me to that art first. So I was like, I need that.
What is the book about, the lazy motivation?
Okay, so the lazy motivation, I am a very big procrastinator.
Oh my God.
Me?
Preaching to the choir, right, Shelley?
Yeah. So
I was going twins.
Yeah. And during COVID phase one, like me and one of my friends, we used to talk about a lot of issues that we're facing. He was like living without his family. He was from a different city, staying alone, and then suddenly everything was locked up, and he was like, I have to eat a pizza, I have to eat a cake. He used to eat that on a daily basis, and then his cholesterol level shot up. And then I said, I will take a walk with you on a daily basis. And then we used to walk around for 2-3 hours, and then we used to bump ideas into each other, and voila, that's the lazy motivation.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's like so many things, so many people face complexities in life. Like he was constantly upset about being alone in a different city. He cannot go out of the house, he cannot go out anywhere. Like we live in a society. Like society is a cluster of 4 or 5 buildings, and there are like 30 or 40 apartments in that, and there's a walking path, and that's just it's enclosed. So that was the way we used to walk on that path on a daily basis. And we used to, like, he used to work from 9 to 7 in the mornings, and then after dinner he used to like call me up, and then we used to go for a walk late at night, so around 2 or 3 a.m., and then walk up till 4, and then I used to stay a bit more to get some sunrise photographs and then come back. So that was yep. So
What's
that
this
was
thing that's popping up on our screen, Shelley? Participant request that live transcription be enabled. I thought we add that all the time. You're on mute.
I didn't see it. I've just been listening because I've got a bit of a headache. Is it saying, oh, someone wants closed captions? Sorry, I will click the button here.
That what it is? Okay.
Yeah.
okay. So that was how the lazy motivation was formed. And in the next year, I wrote about the uh, Here We Are Forever with the Shaker, one of my friends, office colleagues. And that's his bike, the motorcycle that he loves to ride along. And I love hiking and trekking. So, yep, that's about the second book. So, and then this book, it's completely new. I wrote it in like I I used to recite a lot of poems, like it's in Fredericton when I came here. So, and then Isabel suggested that I could go ahead with a poetry book, and then I said, wait, let me think about that, and let me also go ahead and take some pictures which might complement the poetry that I wrote. So that's something about that. And here we are at a picture of a person writing. So you don't need those fancy journals, you don't need those fancy books, you can write in a diary. But there are certain softwares that people recommend, but I just write in Microsoft Word because for me it's easier, and I know where I am when I put the color highlighter in that. So I would recommend that. And then the first thing that we face is a writer's block. Most of us, we feel that our work is not that great enough, or it's not good for sharing across. So I would like to say no. You can edit your drafts, you can always do that, but let's go ahead and see how we can avoid that writer's block. So the first thing, it's the timing. Like you do not have time to write. That's what we all have been discussing. And the second thing is like fear, which means that what will the other person say? What will my friends think? What will my family think? And that was one of the things that I was facing, the fear thing. When my book came in, it was my friends who saw that because I did not tell them about it. Like, and my family, I told them like after I think 10-15 days, and they were like, why didn't you tell us sooner? I never thought that like people can be my family would be so happy. But yes, and perfectionism, that's a weird thing that happens to all of the writers. We want our stuff to be perfect. In fact, to all the artists, not just writers, to painters, musicians, photographers, videographers, every artist. Like, it's not perfect. I would like to take a retake. I would like to redo that. So many times we have done that. So we actually lose on the originality when we are trying for perfectionism. So that's something we need to work on. And time, we have 24 hours a day. And if you just calculate it, we have so many minutes and so many seconds. We can actually take out at least an hour, if not an hour, then at least 20 to 30 minutes a day to write. That's not a big deal. 30 minutes is not a big deal for writing. And we can write in the outlines. So I'll show you how the outlines work in the next few slides, and then we can take it from there. So if you face any, like, I do not want to ride, so you can take a walk, you can take a ride, you can just go out in the fresh air, even if it's snowing. I feel that if I go out, it actually calms me. So I love that. You have to eliminate distractions, and Netflix is the biggest distraction right now. So get rid of Netflix. No, just no. Keep that Netflix on. You can see that, but do not do the binge watching all the seasons. And take time to play maybe a small game of chess or something like that that you love. Uh, Move to a different room, change your environment. That is, you can, if you're like bedroom, my dad calls the bed as the biggest like a biggest weapon, because once we see the bed, we go ahead and say, oh, 5 more minutes on the bed, and then it's like an hour or so, and then we lose our time. Read a book. That's something that I love. Like, if I'm facing something or if I'm not able to write, then definitely I would read a book for inspiration, listen to some music, put on some coffee, tea being my personal favorite. I can drink n number of cups of tea every day. Like, you can't count that. And create a routine. That's not my favorite. I am a very big procrastinator, as I said. So I used to write, but not at the fixed time every day. So sometimes, like, and then uh, somebody suggested that whatever the thoughts that were in the day, I should keep a outline or bullet points and then make it. And you can also spend some time with your friends, family members who make you feel loved, who make you feel good. You can pass on your ideas that you have been thinking about the book, call an old friend, maybe talk to him on the phone, meet, brainstorm your ideas in bullet points. That's something you can use to get rid of the writer's block. And how not to overcome it, that there are some people who would suggest you have to write till you overcome or till you get inspired. That's something that's wrong. You don't like wallowing yourself in self-pity. That's something, no, nobody would love that. Procrastinating, sorry, I am a procrastinator and I used to make excuses, but once I started writing those bullet points, it helped me a lot. And then once you have those bullet points, there is no procrastinating, because you can edit that, make a whole outline, and then write across. And then the last thing, do not binge watch Netflix. So as I said, you have to write till you feel inspired, but then it's not a way to overcome writer's block. But then there's also a fail-proof solution, that you should write. So just write without editing, without looking at it, how you have written it. It just needs to be written. You just write a few lines, a few words, a few sentences, maybe. Maybe you don't have those 30 minutes daily. A 5 minute, 5 minutes, just 5 minutes, and you can write like 4 or 5 sentences, and you can use that tomorrow to build up what you're thinking today. So that's something that I would do when I'm not in a mood. And so now, once we start writing, we start with what are the types of books. And I've just included 3 or 4 categories. I'm not going into biographies or more, because I feel that they come under the nonfiction part. So kids books, they love kid book. I love kids books, and fiction, I adore fiction. I also like nonfiction, and poetry is one of my favorites. And we will go ahead and look at a few slides wherein we will see how it goes. So basically for all these books, we have to go about in writing the story outline first. So what is a story outline? So outline is like, what is your story idea, what you're trying to convey, and what is or what will be the end result. So that's your story outline. So basically we start with a small premise that will introduce your characters, the conflicts, and the highlights of the story. And then you have to bring the characters, that is, you have to write their backstories and how they will respond to the story's conflict or what is happening in that story. And then we will look at how to build scenes around your character, like how is that character, what sort of the character, and then you can look at it in a coherent and a linear way, wherein you can look at it, look at the character, what sort of character, what sort of life he was living before he became that character. And then when we look at the outlines, when we start writing your outline, there are 4 ways, the 4 methods to write a story outline. The first is a plot-based approach, the scene-based approach, the theme-based approach, and the Freytag's pyramid. The most common one is the Freytag's pyramid, and we will look at it. So the plot-based approach is, again, as I told you, you can create bullet points, the points, and each bullet point will describe what happened in each scene. The scene-based approach helps you to focus detail on the scene. So you write it a little bigger, you write it paragraph by paragraph. And then the third thing is the theme-based scene. So if you're writing about a war, so you would like to go ahead and tell it what sort of theme, like why it went to a war, why it went to that. And then the Freytag's pyramid, it's the basic structure. It's one of the things that is called as a plot mountain, wherein most of the writers, they use that. And okay, and the Freytag's pyramid, the exposition, it's where your characters, how they are at the beginning, like how they came here, what are their histories, what are their past. And then you have an inciting incident. And then that incident leads to some rising action. And then you reach the climax, which is the apex. And then you have some falling action. And then you find out a resolution. I met actually Jeffrey Archer 3 times. And once I was asking, like, once I asked him a question, like, why does his books have the perfect ending or happy ending? So he said that if it's not a happy ending, the story is not yet over. So all our readers, they expect a happy ending. Yeah.
Do you teach, Remy? Do you teach writing?
No, I don't teach writing. I used to teach interview skills, so I used to do that, and
I've
then
always wanted to take a creative writing
I
course.
we can all be in a group, and then we can all be a part of that as a collective, and then we can take on the points and help each other in writing. So if that's okay with you, we can look at that. I have not yet begun teaching on writing. And then when we are looking to write on a nonfiction, what exactly are you looking to write in your nonfiction book? You should be very sure about that. And then when you're looking at a nonfiction, you should be Like you should be actually sure of the subgenre of your nonfiction book. Like, so it's going to be a nonfiction book, it's going to be biography, and then you can draft an outline, a rough outline. We just saw the outline writing methods, bullet points, theme-based approach, and the others. And then just be aware that you do not need to share a lot of information. Too much information, people get, oops, where was this? They get confused. We don't want to confuse our readers, right?
Great.
And use a dialogue. It should be in dialogue so that it's easier for everyone. And you can use plain language, like shorter sentences. Active voice is highly recommended, not mandatory though. And anyone know jargon? What does jargon means?
On and on and on.
No, jargon here would actually mean complex statements like the office. Uh, mm, so if I were to tell you about, let's say about US mortgage or Canadian mortgage, and then I would talk about those terms that a mortgage company uses to a person who does not know about anything about mortgage. He's just a person who is just going to bank to get a mortgage. He would be like, oops, I'm at the wrong place at the wrong time,
Yeah.
right? That's called a jargon. You don't use those stuff. You don't want to mess around people's head. Like you do not want people to look at the dictionary and then trying to find out the meaning of those words.
Exactly.
And always your research can be on the bullet points. Use that. And then you can dig for bigger truths, what you want to get out of your nonfiction book. Maybe like in one chapter, you can just keep on going ahead and then build it up slowly for the next chapter. Like an entrepreneur book, you can just talk about the stuff that goes on. And then you can also go ahead and talk about like first chapter can be how your journey started as an entrepreneur, then what did you do, and then what was the problem that you faced, what were the troubles that you faced, and then go about building it for the people so that they know what to expect in the nonfiction book. And then you can add the final touches. Make sure all the chapters are linked. That is, there's a linkage between the chapters. People would not like, people should feel connected, like they should resonate with what they have read in the previous chapter. Okay, and the next slide is the poetry right. So the people who love writing poetry, this is for all of you. So here are a couple of exercises that you can do. You can look at an old photo, look at everything that's there in the picture, and then you can write about everything that's not there in the picture. So you can see a picture, you can see a family photo and see that what's not there in the picture. Or you can also write about a place you have never been to. You can be realistic as possible. You can create a single word list. You can create something that you love or your last dream. You can use colors, smells. Like if I would go, I would write about maybe a sea, an ocean. I would write about the sun and the sand and the sea smells and the sea colors. Maybe I could use that. And or you can just use this like when my head touches the pillow. Oh Lord, and then you can start writing a small poem. Or you can use 13 words or more to describe your oasis. Okay, and now there are so many types of poems. So people write in free verse, people write in sonnets, people write in so many different styles. Like if you consider counting, I was going through the HarperCollins book in UK and they said that there are over 30 different types of poems, and that's a lot of rules to follow. And I'm the one who does not follow rules. Yes, but why? Since there are people who want you to follow rules, they want the poem to rhyme, they want the poem to resonate, be like a sonnet, whatever you want, but it's up to you. It's you who is the writer of the poem. It's you who's the controller of the poem. So what happens in the poem is it should reach or it should touch the readers. Your poem should make the readers feel good or bad, whatever you're trying to tell them. It's like if your poem can actually convince a person that he's going right or he's doing right, boss, you're the winner. It's not that you have to go ahead with those rules to follow. It's about what you can do and make the people feel good. And life. This is one of my short poems here that I would like to tell. When I got enough confidence, the stage was gone. When I was sure of losing, I won. When I needed people the most, they left me. But when I learned to dry my tears, I found a shoulder to cry on. When I mastered the skill of hating, someone started loving me from their heart. While waiting for the light for hours, I fell asleep and saw the sun shining. That's life. No matter what you plan, you never know what life has planned for you. And then success introduces you to the world, but then failure introduces the world to you. So that's how life works. So it's a very short poem, and I love writing. So it can be modified, it can be edited, and that's how I would like when you want to write, you write. Go with the free verse. I love that for poetry. And here I would like to conclude my thank you. But before that, anyone who would like to ask me a few questions?
It was very interesting.
Thank you.
I thoroughly enjoyed this.
Thank you.
There's a part in particular, the last part about, framing your story, and
Yeah.
that's where I find I'm lacking.
Mm-hmm.
I know how to write, but like to build your story and
Right. So what I'll do is I can forward this presentation, and you can use that to write it accordingly, you all, and then someone who can go ahead and forward it to all the participants. Would that be okay?
Yes, we'll send it to everybody.
Yeah. So just need one person's email, and
I'll do that, Ramneet. You sent the PowerPoint to me already, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can do that.
Perfect. Perfect. You can send it across. And any more questions?
What was it like meeting Jeffrey Archer?
Yes. So Jeffrey Archer was like one of my favorite writers. But then what I didn't like about him was, I'll start with what I didn't like about him, and then we will go back. So what I didn't like about him was this series, and I am like, I need to get the complete book in one go. I can't wait a year after year for the second part or the third part. So I need the book in my hand. It's also like in the movies. I can't wait for the second part, third part, or the fourth part. I want that all at once. So that's the part I didn't like. But the other parts, like I love his writing. It's simple. The words, he does not use bigger words or phrases. And if you consider looking at other writers, most of them, they would try to incorporate they're like most of the other writers, they would try to use big phrases. So that's why I wanted like the person who is reading, he should be able to decipher what the author or the writer has written. So Jeffrey Archer's books are kind of simple, but they have a very big storyline. So that's something that I love about that.
Is he
Uh,
your favorite author?
he is one of my favorite authors. Yes, one of my favorite authors. So,
Mine is Dean Koontz.
okay, nice. So I come, like my sister had like she was the one who introduced me to reading, and one of my favorite authors was till now, like whenever I'm feeling in dumps or feeling sad, I would like to read fairy tale books or the kids books, because I feel that they elevate me, they make me happy. So Annette Bletton was one of my favorite writers of all times, and then Jeffrey Archer, and then so many other authors uh, come across. Like I just love a book because of its story, because of how the author wants to portray, and the characterization. That's something that I love, and that's more about it. The books that I love to read. So, and what sort of books that you guys like to read?
I love comedy books.
Yes.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like comedians will often write biographies about themselves and make them really funny.
Yep.
I tend to read a lot of those, and of course, anything disability justice, I will read those too.
Perfect. Perfect.
Sometimes like Zen philosophy stuff every once in a while.
Yep.
Oh, you're too smart.
What?
Yes.
Come on.
I like horror, thriller, science
Ooh.
fiction.
I love thriller. I love watching thriller, but I don't
I-
like reading it.
I hate, like, it's awful to say, but I hate the romance novels. Not the in
Yeah.
the traditional sense, anyway.
It's
I've
too
always
predictable, eh?
Yeah, I said, I always joked. I said when I was a little girl, well, teenager or whatever, I read a Harlequin romance and I liked it. And then I read the second one and figured out it was the same book, only with different people. So I'm like, that's it.
Okay. No more romantic books.
No, no.
Wow.
And I liked Dean Koontz, John Saul,
Oh yes, I know that.
Stephen King, James Patterson.
Oh, Stephen King is one of my favorite authors as well.
I haven't read a lot of his though. Um, a lot of Dean Koontz, Stephen King.
Hmm.
It's like I like the idea of Stephen King.
Yeah, but then sometimes you feel like it's too big a book, and then
Sometimes it's just like so far out there. I'm just.
yeah,
He's got so many movies though, like The Shawshank Redemption, and
Oh yeah.
yeah,
a bunch of movies have made it. And he lives really close to here. He lives in Maine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. And what was that book about Stephen King? Like, it's about the person who's getting executed. So that's also a real, like a real life story.
The Green Mile.
The Green Mile. Yeah.
Once you get over to this side, you're going to get
So
bigger and then just eventually just fades away.
I can't hear anybody, sorry.
okay.
Oh, okay.
I think it just was somebody's kid in the background.
Oh,
Yeah.
it is. I got all.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was me. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
And for people who like reading fiction and non-fiction combined, I love Jeffrey Archer's Paths of Glory. That's one of my favorite books. Right up. That's one of the best books in motivation section for me, and I like to read that a lot of times. So it's about the people who are willing to climb Mount Everest, and that's around 70 to 80 years before Hillary does. And then the main character, his body is found like 100 feet below the summit. And he had promised his wife that he would put down her picture at the summit of Everest. And the place that the author leaves us hanging is that in the protagonist or in the person's wallet, his wife's picture is not found. So did he, at the end, did he actually put down her picture at the top of the mountain? And if he did, would Hillary be the second person to climb Everest?
Okay, I got a question. Does that mean that the author procrastinated on writing a conclusion?
Maybe, but you can always go ahead, read the book, and then find out if he did. Or maybe he did not have that much information, so he left for the readers to decide.
No.
Nope.
Write a conclusion.
You write a conclusion. Yeah.
So who likes romance novels? Admit it now or forever hold your peace.
Oh, not Carly. She's shaking her head.
No.
No.
No. For me, romance is like, even in romance, I would like to read more about the ideas, the travelogues,
The mystery.
the
Yeah.
mystery. It should not
Yeah.
be just complete romance, because that's
Exactly.
it's like a bland dish or not a good dish.
Yeah.
I want the
I like-
spices.
I like romance in a book. I just don't like romance.
Yeah. I'm an Indian by birth. We Indians love spices, so we need something to add to the
Spicy.
romantic book. Yeah, make it spicy.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, you guys do like spicy.
Yes. Yeah.
I usually cough when there's some type of spice that doesn't agree with my I don't know what, but my voice just goes flat, like
Oops. Yeah.
it's weird.
And spicy does not mean hot or like chili, but it should mean like different spices like bay leaves, nutmeg, cinnamon, cloves, whatever you can find, different spices.
Watch 90 Day Fiance.
you're-
Your juices going.
I think he's a cook too. What's that, Paulette?
I said, watch 90 Day Fiance. That'll get your juices going.
Yes.
Oh, 90 days. Also something I'm not into.
Yes. So,
Anybody else want to share about their favorite authors or books?
yep, or questions, anything, feedbacks, questions. If you
really
would,
want to
if you would
drop
like to make,
If
sorry,
you want to kiss up to Jamie, just see easier.
yeah,
I mean, Ramneet, sorry.
Ramneet, you can call me anything. I'm okay with that. Here, yeah.
I just called you the name of the leader of the NT. I turned you into a politician. Just see he's your favorite author.
Oh, cute. Oh, funny.
So, yes. So you
Do we
can,
want Ramneet back to give another presentation?
or no, yes, please say no.
I would love him to come back for a more in-depth.
I found
Okay.
this a good presentation and inspiring to.
It
It
is.
kind of got my juices flowing of different ideas of something to write about, which I've, never really thought about before, but it
Wow.
worked. So
Yay, now we have to see your work in the near
Yes.
future. Yes?
yeah, I like the Facebook. I like taking the stuff from my Facebook and kind of putting that out there. So I think what I'll do is I'll go through my Facebook and just pull out some of the more lengthy ones that I've written that are kind of good. And then kind of just gather them up into something and go from there.
In a portfolio. It's a portfolio.
I like that.
Oh, you
Ooh,
can
fancy
actually make it in a
portfolio.
book. yeah, you can make it in a book, though it's a portfolio. You can always make it in a book, like as I did with my poetry and the photography collection. So it's a mix of both. So
It's
you
such a good
can,
feeling though, like when you collect all your work and you put it all side by side and you see your like the amount of effort that you put in and you see it all and you're like, this is pretty good. You know, like you
absolutely.
start to get proud, you know? It's
Yes,
great.
I never thought that I could do that.
Yeah.
That's how you feel. You
Mhm.
feel like a king or a queen. You feel victorious. Awesome.
I like
Yeah,
you. You're so enthusiastic.
yeah. When
Yes.
one of your slides that you were going to about like the reasons why people don't write, and like you had like fear and stuff like that. I was listening to that,
Yeah.
yeah, and I was kind of like, yeah,
Yeah.
I have none of that stuff. It's just that I just don't know what to write about and don't really have the urge to most of the time. Like
Mhm.
I said, for me, for writing, it's a spur of the moment. Something happened,
Mhm.
and I just have to get it off my chest. Or, I mean,
Yeah.
there's been times that,
Absolutely. Yeah.
going to bed and something has just hit me the right way and I have to write it down.
Mhm.
That's usually where all my inspiration comes from for all my lengthier posts on Facebook and Twitter. That it's just one of those spur of the moment things that, like Shelly said, she must have read some of my stuff. You know, no one's ever said, you're a bad writer or anything like that. So I mean, that's never been a concern of mine. Mine is just I write because I like to write, and what I
Mhm.
write is just my feelings and thoughts at the moment, basically.
It might
Right.
be interesting to find out what happened before you started writing. Like I know I'm the same way as you. I don't write stuff that often either sometimes. And I find like I need something to trigger me. And you know, like it could be listening to other poets. It could be something that, you know, pissed you off. It could be a discussion with somebody. You know what I mean? Like try to figure out what it is that,
Inspiration.
yeah.
I'm 100% positive. I know everything that has set me off for writing it, and it's always been anything that I write usually has to do around my disability or around family.
Mhm.
Because the stories I have for my disability and what people have said to me and what people have done, the stories around my family and how crazy they are. Like when I write about my family, I never put any names or anything like that, or try and make it so that I'm not, pinpointing one of my family members, even though they probably know who I'm talking about whenever I write about them. So
Probably.
It happens with each and every family, Jerry. Like we don't need names. We know who the people are, and
yeah, exactly. And
yeah.
and as for my favorite author, don't really have one. I will read pretty much anything.
Mhm.
Currently, my topic of delight is, because I'm trying to improve my career opportunities. I'm reading about hacking and cybersecurity and all of that stuff.
So you can make a fiction book out of that, make a person write about his background, and then like he's a make it like a child who is a homeless child or a homeless person, and then see how he faced problems, and then he starts hacking his way into the banks, and then taking the money into his account, and
Oh
then
my God, the homeless hacker.
Oh, there you go.
you
Yeah,
can
the
add
title.
a bit of romance in that for
Oh,
Muriel.
oh,
Maybe get Fabio to do it, the cover picture for you, Mario.
yeah.
Oh, the homeless hacker like finally gets some money and then he goes and get a
God.
makeover and we realize he's super hot. Great.
Yep,
Love
maybe.
it. I love it.
Or he goes to he escapes the country and then goes to a different islands like the Bahamas anywhere where there is no extradition policy, and then lives life in style until someone comes from as a secret agent and then finds out that he's there, takes him on a deal to the US to buy some $1 billion company or $1 million company. And then as soon as he's in the United States or in the country, he's caught
he starts buying cryptocurrency.
Yeah. So many ideas. Like you can.
Wait, are you writing this down? This is juicy. This is
No.
juicy stuff.
I'm not writing this down.
You could put that he's faking his vision too, visually impaired.
Yeah, you can do that.
Oh, that could be a whole story in itself.
Isabel, Shelley had to leave. She seems like she's here, but she's not. She had
Okay.
sort of an emergency, so she had to skip out.
We're a little over time, so
Yeah, she
Okay.
left it on just because she had I think she had the controls.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think she might have forgotten to put it. Okay, well, we'll see.
Muriel's the host and she's co-host from what I see.
I'm usually co-host. I don't know if I am.
But now you're a host. I sort of looked at the participants.
Ah, okay, you saw it. Okay, good. Yeah, I don't think she'll be able to come back. So
You're in charge, Muriel.
yes, I'm in charge. So I guess I'll say. So are we wrapping up for tonight, Isabel, or did you have more interesting stuff for us tonight? This is a really good session. I love it.
I know, eh? Isn't he great?
Oh, he's fantastic. I
Thank
think
you.
you might hear from me.
Yes. My email address is also in that presentation, which Isabel would be sending out to you.
Yeah, I'll find it.
So yeah, so you can go ahead and write it out to me, whatever you want to. I will try to write out or reply back to your emails as soon as
Yeah.
possible.
Awesome.
Good.
Okay.
All
So
right.
then we will say goodbye for tonight, and we're gonna hope that Ramneet will decide to come back.
I am in. You do not need to worry about that. If you decide to call me again, I am coming again.
Okay, great. That's fantastic.
Thank
Okay,
you.
so thank you very much, and thank you, Isabel, as well. And we look forward to one more episode of the creative talk coffee chat before or what do you call it? residency with us ends.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to
Thank you
apply
very much.
again, but
Mhm.
we'll see. It depends on the funding.
Yeah.
You did a great job. I forget your name.
Isabel and Ramneet, both of them did a great job.
Thank you. Thank
Okay, so thank you very much, everybody, and have a good night.
you. Good night.
You too.
Bye. Have a good
Bye.
night.
Bye.